Clash Royale has two brand new elements, the Little Prince, a new champion, and the Evolved Archers. Both of these thrown in the mix just a couple of weeks before Clash Royale League's 2023 World Finals. So to see how they work in a duel, we've got Adriel and Wallace, two of our World Finalists for this year, to do a World Finals style duel. No pre-submitted decks, no pre-building. Go from game to game, making those picks, making those swaps, and see how those cards mix in to a duel mode battle. We do have new cards, so if you want, please go ahead and use code RICH inside the Supercell shop if you're going to go ahead and buy that pass. It's a great way to support the channel. That's it, though. Let's go ahead, jump right into it. Our best of three, Adriel and Wallace. All right, here we go. Game number one. First look at the new cards in duel mode, World Finals style, between Adriel and Wallace. Adriel opening up with those skeletons, going Evo Knight, and Little Prince game number one from Wallace, and immediately poisoned by Adriel. No messing about when it comes to that Little Prince. Does not die to Fireball, does die to Poison. Will this give Poison a big buff in this game? Will Poison suddenly be a whole lot more popular? And both players opting to go Little Prince game number one and not use Archer's game number one. So will we see that Evo later on?
Doing it for the fans.
And this Hog Rider variation does seem to be one of the early popular ones on day number one. And a very late ability out of Adriel. But does reset the board. 2 elixir advantage for Wallace. Adriel with the damage lead, 2994 to a little bit more now after this miner gets on tower. Trying to contend with the Little Prince when he's behind the Guardian is very interesting. Notice that now Little Prince cycled to the strong side by Wallace. No building play on that defense, opting for DPS instead, and now Little Prince being held up high. Evo Knight, much like being a counter to the Archer Queen, certainly will have some value against Little Prince. We saw that there. Evo Knight and Poison, a good combination so far in response to the new champion.
What up, future king over here?
I do like that the spawn doesn't have to say the same thing every time when Little Prince drops. So far, domination by Adriel. And Poison plus the Knight seems to be a big part of that. Delivery does come down and does control, but still, Adriel continues to creep ahead here, 29-36 to 2016. Been very difficult for Wallace to find a way through. And the late Evo Knight again. So we're seeing that a couple of times here. Popping the Evo Knight right, I mean not Evo Knight, late Guardian ability. The question is it just a little bit of off timing because people are getting used to it with that Little Prince, or are there other reasons? And that Evo Skellies did not do what Wallace wanted. Needed to put that right on the Evo Prince, or on the Little Prince. I gotta get used to saying all the right things with new cards right before World Finals. 90 seconds left, and you have the ability for 3-card cycle, but the Little Prince doesn't stay on the board that long. Does the Guardian allow you to continue the 3-card cycle? That's a thing I actually have not researched yet.
Doing it for the fans.
And Tesla being placed nicely outside of EQ range.
Excuse me.
Adriel in crisp form today. And a good little pre-log there. Tesla does come out and control. Wallace needs to pick this up instead. Deals with the Little Prince high and then drops his Little Prince down low. Good log plus Ice Spirit to clear that off. Wallace needs to get 3-card cycle going right now if he wants to have any hope of winning game number 1. Log does get on the Ice Spirit. Is there a Skelly catch here behind all this? There is, but it's going to be too little too late. So first game in the books, and we have a lot that we've learned here. Poison. Really, really nice against Little Prince. Obviously the Evo Knight, when it's walking, certainly powerful as well. And this Hog deck that's very popular, we see a pretty significant counter for it. GG, well played. Game number 2 incoming. With the Little Prince out on both sides, we'll see if they do run champions going forward. Evo Knight still available for Wallace. Log out in both directions. NATO available for both players, and of course, the Evolved Archers as well. So here we go, game number 2 between the 3-time world finalists in Wallace. And first time, despite his long history in Clash Royale, for Adriel. Minor wall breakers for Wallace. Will he be going Magic Archer? Will he be going with the Evo Archers for a possibility? Plain Bats, so suspecting Evo Knight here. And now with Spears, most certainly so. EQ for Adriel, and the recruits come out for Wallace. Hog in for Adriel, and it's an opportune Hog. Snowball to push back. We'll get some damage here, and Adriel once again is out to an early lead. An interesting attempted prediction there. And we do have the Archers from Adriel, so let's see what this is like in duel mode. Got a little hint of it in GKR. But again, players getting their first look at these cards today. And high Evo recruits. Keep in mind, no log here for Adriel. So Bomb Tower is going to be critical. He goes EQ plus Snowball to clean up that left-hand side. But look at the damage on the right-hand side with the Evo recruits supported by those spears. That is huge. And the Archers come out just to clean things up, but the damage done. 2K off that right-hand side. And now it's Adriel's turn to try to play from behind. This is one of the archetypes you expect to see Evo Archers in, Hog Rider. Before the Firecracker got really big again with the Evo, Archers were common in Hog EQ decks. And Snowball plus Miner, but the Evolved Archers are not in that poison range. One stays up, but still damage in. Now Hog opposite direction. Wallace does have the Bomb Tower as his last card and will stop that Hog damage. And I think that Evo Archer will go down, and it does. 3-3 split for the recruits. Bomb Tower to control, 766 to 2355. Wallbreakers trying to sneak through with the recruits playing control. What a nice ability out of Adriel with the Mighty Miner to save what would have been catastrophic damage. Wallace might need to poison to get all these Archers off the board here. Decides to go ahead and do that. Smart control play here. Electro Spirit takes care of the bats. Adriel currently stopping the bleeding. How long can he do that, though? High Bomb Tower. EQ wasn't able to help because the archers had to come out and worry about that miner on the right-hand side. Just over 70 seconds left. Full miner poison push to the right-hand lane. Miner in. And those recruits are evolved, so do they end up charging? And just barely sneaks on through. We are all tied up 1-1 and going to a game number 3. Love to see it. Let's go. So game number 1, we had the cycle decks from both players log out on both sides. A lot of the cycle cards out on both sides. Evo Knight played by Adriel, Evo Skellies. So Evo Knight is still available for Wallace along with the evolved archers. No snowball for either player, no poison for either player. Both have opted to stay cycle. Bomb tower gone. So now let's see. Adriel might go with something with recruits here. And Wallace, I wouldn't be surprised for a bowler deck of some sort, trying to hedge against that. Also, with a lot of the cycle cards gone, that could be a sharp play from Wallace. We'll see here in game number 3. All right, game number 3. Let's see if Wallace goes with the Evo Archers. Let's see if he goes with Bowler to hedge against those recruits as a possible play from Adriel. Firecracker also open. And Mortar to start Evo Knight for Wallace. So opting to go with the safe pick here is Wallace rather than trotting out the new evolved archers. No log, so this bait deck, no log, no snowball for Wallace. So this double bait deck, or at least mortar bait deck. And no surprises here, Bowler coming out for Wallace to deal with those recruits will also be helpful against the bait elements here. Savvy pick by the veteran. It's funny, though. Adriel certainly is a veteran. Been around for a long time, just wasn't always of age. Every one of those mortar shots absolutely critical for Adriel here. Inferno Dragon controlled, Skelly King down. This is a lot. Wallace down to 4 elixir, gets the Knight out to try to hold here. Not everything is clumped, though, so that Baby Dragon has some work to do. Wallace goes with the Ice Whiz to clear. And the fact that the Ice Whiz drops with that little bit of ice is really a important, didn't always happen, really important part of Ice Whiz now. And NATO's that, which makes me feel like there isn't a Barb Barrel available. So must be playing Graveyard Freeze then. Good control from the Ice Whiz on the left-hand side for Wallace. And there we go, the freeze to win the bridge fight. Options in both lane for the Tribe player. Adriel splitting his Goblin gang to control the Baby Dragon. Dark Goblin going to be a nuisance as well. And Dark Goblin protected here. As Wallace cycles the Bowler behind tower, he does have to contend with all of this. NATO to pull everything together. And with the NATO out, Ice Whiz has to come down for that Skelly King ability, but with the low HP of the Skelly King ends up being okay. Bowler does get The long distance shot on the Dart Goblin, that is absolutely massive. Fireball has to come down to take care of the Ice Whiz and clear, but that Graveyard might be enough. Graveyard freeze in. GG, well played. Wallace with the reverse sweep in this best of 3, and a really savvy pick in game number 3 to get the matchup that he needed. Really, really fun to watch, and man, I continuously enjoy seeing these two players go at it, and that was certainly a back and forth battle between these two, and overall a phenomenal finish for Wallace over Adriel. This will be so much fun if these two eventually meet at World Finals. That's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed that best of 3. I got some interesting insight into these cards and how they might play for World Finals. We'll be doing more of these on the channel as we get closer to CRL Worlds, as well as a preview of the bracket, and right now, out already, a really fun guide to Royal Giant with Mini Minter if you're trying to get better at one of the most popular decks from Clash Royale League in 2023. If you haven't yet, subscribe to the channel, like this video, and I will see you back here with more Clash Royale stuff very, very soon. As always, be excellent to each other, and party on, dude.